Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys figure preview video. Before we begin, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for coming along with me in person to this Hot Toys pop-up store in Shanghai and snapping these badass high-res pictures. Show Ryan some love in the comments below because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. If you are looking to pre-order your very own copy of Wanda, either the standard version or the Artisan one, I have popped the link to Pop Collectibles in the description below. As always, do your own research, make sure you are comfortable before buying. I've also included the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. This was a surprise. I knew that another Wanda was probably coming down the pipeline eventually, but not a previous look for Wanda. I thought they'd wait for a future appearance and then they'd make a new version. But no, they went back into the catalogue and they picked the Civil War / Infinity War / Endgame outfit. And I'm not complaining because a lot of people, they had issues with the pants on the Civil War version. Oh, and the jacket too. The pleather that they used was nasty. It degraded, it flaked, it cracked, and it just looked awful over time. Not to mention how expensive that version of Wanda is on the aftermarket, so if you did want to get multiple for each of her appearances in Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, then you were going to have to shell out a pretty penny. Not to say that this particular version won't also cost you a pretty penny, but at least it's new, and if you go for the Artisan one, you are getting some stunning luscious locks made out of real wool. We'll get there in just a second. The display base is the same between both versions, so no matter which one you get, you are getting this gorgeous diorama-style display base. It's cracked rubble. It looks like it's glowing, even though it's not. It's just paint. And that's exactly what I think Hot Toys should be doing. They should be adding some feathering of red shading onto the rockwork and onto other accessories if they do decide to do more magic effect display bases in the future. It's translucent plastic, you've got various shades of red, and I particularly like the chunks of rubble floating up throughout the magical effect pieces. It looks very dynamic. Speaking of dynamic, a split-cut boot design. Thank you, Hot Toys, I don't mind if I do. And there's a lot of texture on these boots. They are sculpted, not fabric, but they look like leather. There's a grain to them, you've got the stitching lines sculpted in, you can even see the zipper up top. Oh no, that knee looks absolutely terrible. But they've got time to work on it. Right now, it's a single bend knee, and you can see the kneecap poking through the pants, so a lot to work on there. At least the pants themselves do look more durable than last time. They're a little bit baggier, and they look to be a nice stretchy soft material. Less fragile. Although that's not saying much, because last time you just looked at the pants the wrong way and they were gone. Straight away. No question. Obviously, hyperbole. Her corset is made of this synthetic shiny fabric, and there's some screen printing up the front. Not where you might think though, it's the zipper and the eyelets plus the strings. That's all the screen printing. They're not real, they're just there for show. They've also added some darker red shading to give it a touch more depth, and when the light hits it, it looks really cool, quite ethereal. Now, the coat is the big question mark for me. It doesn't look like pleather. It looks almost like screen-printed laminated fabric, as though it's a vinyl overlay that's been heat transferred onto the fabric underneath. Not quite the same thing as pleather. Pleather is a very thin, stretchy layer of fabric with a grain texture made of a rubbery style material glued onto the surface, keeping it as thin as possible. So any kind of friction, that'll peel away immediately. So this to me doesn't look like pleather, it looks like some other kind of hybrid vinyl material. The ideal situation would have been just using real leather. We've seen them do it. They did it with the DX10. They also did it recently with the Days of Future Past 1970s version of Wolverine. So why not give it to the DX Artisan version of Wanda, the highest end of the highest end version of Wanda Maximoff? They didn't. Maybe there's a good reason for it that we're just not aware of, but I did my research, I looked at Hot Toys announcement post, I looked at their website, I even looked at other websites, and they all said that it was just a long red coat. They did not say genuine leather, so if I'm wrong on that, and fingers crossed I am, then we're in for a treat. But I do think you will still have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to the red coat. The effect pieces are nice, but they're also similar to the ones that we've seen previously. We have quite a few Wanda figures at this point. They all come with different effect pieces. These are translucent red plastic, so when you hit them with some light, they will cast a bit of a red glow onto her body, even though her outfit is already red, but you know what I mean. It'll look like she's using her magic effects for figure photography. Just be careful with that waist clamp. I wouldn't want to use that long term because pinching the coat as it's doing here, that's a lot of pressure on that material. And even if it was genuine leather, it would mark up the surface, so just be careful. It also looks like they snap onto the hands in the exact same way as all of the other versions of Wanda. They just slide over the top of the hands, and it looks like she's using her magic. She also has moving eyes, which is a nice touch. And speaking of moving eyes, unfortunately, the people at Hot Toys who put her on display, they done goofed with her left eye. I can't look at that picture seriously. Her left eye is looking off in the wrong direction, so we'll try and ignore that as we talk about the rest of the head sculpt. This angle is not as egregious. The skin texture is really fine. She's got some red shading for some blush, some complexion. Her lips are nice and glossy. And the hair is significantly lighter than the Civil War version. This is accurate. This is how she looked post Infinity War leading into Endgame. Her hair was a lot lighter. So she could work in either display if you did want to pick up multiple. Which might be a challenge because I'm not sure if I've mentioned it already, she is a limited release, so she is going to be a bit tricky to get a hold of. Her hair does look very full, just like we saw with the Wonder Woman, not Artisan but wool hair figure. The actual figure on display when they had it at the various stores did have a very full head of hair, but when it released, they slimmed it down and she looked a lot more natural. But if wool hair is not your thing, you don't want to do any styling out of the box at all, this is a much more low maintenance version. You still get the sick light up display base, you still get the moving eyes, you still get the effect pieces, you're just missing the rooted hair. This time, for this version, it's sculpted. And they got the eye position correct. I like the sculpted hair, I do, how it comes along the front, and you can see it's nowhere near as full as the wool hair version. It's a lot slimmer and it hugs the side of her face. But articulation is going to be, unfortunately, more restricted because those sculpted pieces of hair coming over the top of her shoulders and over the back, they'll just sandwich that head sculpt in position. You will be able to get a touch of flexibility out of it because it's still that softer rubbery material, but it won't be as posable as the rooted hair version. Which one do I prefer? For the realism, I've got to go with the DX Artisan one with the wool hair. This one, though, if I really couldn't get my hands on the wool version, I still like it. It looks incredible. And it's a step up over the previous Civil War version in terms of likeness, in terms of lighter eye color, which is more accurate in terms of moving eyes that also have the UV light up effect, and in terms of skin texture, detail, plus proportions and durability of the material and the diorama display base. This has a lot going for it, so if you did want to get the ultimate version of this look for Wanda that she had in multiple films, I reckon this is it. If there was a time to splurge on a DX Artisan release, Wanda might just be the one. Or not, just go for the sculpted hair version, still a really solid figure. If you are looking to pre-order Wanda, she is available from Pop Collectibles, and I have popped the link in the description below. As always, do your own research, make sure you are comfortable before buying. I've also included the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.